story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
What was supposed to be Caitlin Clark's crowning moment in the WNBA right in her home city of Indianapolis has turned into a complete disaster. The city went all in, even plastering a massive 34-story Clark banner on the JW Marriott in anticipation of record-breaking crowds and major profits. Instead, the All-Star Game saw fan outrage, boycotts, and rows of empty seats. Now, everyone is asking the same thing. How did the league turn a celebration of its biggest star into a financial and PR catastrophe? And what did Commissioner Kathy Engelbert have to say about the officiating controversy that overshadowed the entire weekend? Her response only made things worse, highlighting everything wrong with how the WNBA handles the players who actually draw the fans. Think the league will ever learn? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk.
When you come to Indianapolis, look, this is what everybody's been talking about. This right here, Caitlin Clark, the banner right there on the JW Marriott. It is 34 stories banner, unbelievable. Is the largest banner ever on the JW Marriott. You may think about the bracket. Remember back in the NCAA tournament back in 2021? Yeah, it's bigger than that as well. 113,000 square feet. It is unbelievable. And you see what it says, from downtown in my town. No doubt, this is something that is grabbing everyone's attention. And who else better to be on that than the star herself, Caitlin Clark?
Indianapolis spent months preparing for what was expected to be the biggest WNBA weekend in history. A replica all-star basketball court was installed at the airport. Local businesses ramped up staffing and inventory, and excitement filled the city. When tickets dropped, Gainbridge Fieldhouse sold out within hours. According to TickPick, the average resale price soared to $262, with premium seats going for thousands. Even the cheapest ticket was $121, the highest starting price in WNBA All-Star Game history.
Really unfortunate that Caitlin Clark missed it. The crowd would have been exploding. The crowd would have been exploding. The arena would have been exploding. Oh man, a big miss as far as the WNBA is concerned.
Then came July 17th. The moment Caitlin Clark announced her groin injury on social media, everything changed. The ticket market began to crumble literally by the hour. What had been a $262 average resale price plummeted to just $64 within hours. Staggering 75% drop in value. Panic set in among ticket holders. The resale market went into freefall, with people who had bought tickets as investments now scrambling to sell at major losses. The entry price nosedived from $121 to around $65, and even at those slashed prices, buyers weren't exactly lining up. This wasn't a slow decline. It was a real-time financial collapse playing out across social media for all to see.
From $121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. She is injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league.
You know what makes this even more brutal? We've seen this pattern before, but never on this scale. Back in May, when Caitlin Clark missed regular season games due to a quad strain, ticket prices for her road games took a hit. The highly anticipated matchup in Chicago saw a 71% drop, while tickets for the Washington game fell 47%. But those were just regular season games. This time, the collapse happened during the WNBA's marquee event, right in her hometown. The All-Star Game crash wasn't just expected, it was unprecedented.
The ticket prices, the demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse was on track for its first sellout of the season. Think about that. For what was set to be the biggest basketball weekend in Indianapolis since the NBA All-Star Game. A venue that had consistently struggled to fill seats. For Fever games over the past 2 years was finally going to be packed. Then everything changed. Vendors who had invested thousands in merchandise for All-Star Weekend were staring down massive losses. Hotels and restaurants, expecting record-breaking crowds, were suddenly dealing with cancellations and empty tables. As the shock wore off, the financial ripple effect spread across downtown Indianapolis, turning a moment of triumph into a citywide setback.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
This wasn't just about one player missing a game. The fans were sending a clear and undeniable message about who truly drives interest in the WNBA when other star players get injured. Ticket prices don't collapse like this. The market was speaking loudly without Caitlin Clark. The All-Star Game just wasn't worth attending. That's a reality the league has been reluctant to admit, but the crash made it impossible to ignore. One player had become the cornerstone of their record-breaking season, and without her, all those attendance records and revenue milestones suddenly felt a lot less meaningful.
This year, for the second time ever, the WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to feature an actual star. Normally, this celebration of pretend basketball features players that no one's ever heard of.
Clark's groin injury wasn't just bad luck, was the inevitable result of months of escalating physical play that officials consistently refused to control. As opposing players realized they could grab, shove, and rough up Clark without consequences, the referees turned a blind eye. Despite growing concerns, the whistles never came in. Now the consequences are on full display.
How did we get to an All-Star Game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Stephanie White saw this coming from a mile away. All season long, the Fever head coach has been vocal about the inconsistent and unfair officiating, pointing out that teams have been allowed to play with a level of physicality against Caitlin Clark that wouldn't be tolerated with other players. This wasn't White overreacting, it was a response to what she witnessed game after game. Her star player getting relentlessly battered with little protection.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that that they're able to play with against her. You know, I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. And you know, I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. You know, we've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her. But the level of physicality overall in our league has been at a different level than it's been for a long time.